My name is Scott Cherry. I'm a physician assistant. I work for the Department of Surgery and Trauma and Critical Care. I've been here at OHSU since 2005, but in my former life, I was a paramedic. This is actually a photograph of me. I'm in the middle, bending over. This was in 1996. I worked primarily in the Delaware and Baltimore, Washington area. And throughout my 5 years as a paramedic, and I still actually do hold my certification, I treated a lot of people and trauma patients. Most importantly, one of the main aspects of our job in trauma is to deliver a patient fast and furiously to the hospital in the most safest and efficient manner. Helicopter EMS is one of those. Sadly, in 2008, there was a very huge spike in fatalities among EMS helicopter crews. There were 9 crashes with almost 29 casualties, all fatalities. Most fatalities. And that's sad. So much so that the GAO had to do a review and had really amount of literature as well as standards. So how can we make it safer for our EMS providers on the scene, our patients, our providers, keep costs down, as well as deliver the right patients fastly to the hospital? This is a scene in Baltimore, in Maryland. Maryland State Police helicopter at a scene of an accident. What really struck me to this information is a story, and it always comes up with a story. One of the fatalities that struck me, that really made me think about my innovative idea, was 2 kids, 18 years of age, motor vehicle crash, 11 o'clock at night. EMS was notified. They were about 40 minutes away from the trauma center. They got to the scene, realized that based on the protocols and standards at the time, needed to have an EMS helicopter. There was some fog in the area. After about decision was made to bring the helicopter out, they flew, touchdown, loaded the patient up, and began their flight to the hospital. It was 45 minutes away by ground. Sadly, 4 people were killed, and 1 patient was critically injured, mostly more a result of the second incident where the helicopter, that's the actual scene, crashed on the ground. If you look at that timeline that was flashed on the screen 2 times ago, the time it would have taken for the providers to get to the hospital is exactly the amount of time it took for the helicopter to get to the hospital if they would have left the scene just about the same time as they called for the helicopter. So that goes to my project. We're looking at internet application of EMS integration with mapping. How fast can we get to the patient to the hospital? What is the best and safest route to the patient based on variables? Take the emotions out of the EMS provider, have some real-time objective data. Mapping technology is there. We know it takes you 30-some minutes based on Google Maps, any of the driving directions we have. EMS helicopters at this point also have mapping technology that they know by the time they lift off how long it's going to take them to get to the scene and be there at the patient's side, and how long it's going to get them to the hospital. But how do you integrate that information with some clinical tools that a provider, a scene commander, or an incident commander can make a decision about the best and safest way to get the patient there? There's a lot of variables in emergency medical services. This is an EMS map. You can see in the picture that they have ETAs once they get airborne, at least lift off, to be able to give us that information. Again, how do we get that information at the hands of somebody who can make an objective decision and impart information to the incident commander, the paramedic, about how we get to the patient to the safest way to the hospital? Even if you're about 5 minutes away from the hospital, if you're trapped in a vehicle for 20, 30 minutes, maybe the best way is to get them by helicopter that fast. Maybe if you're 40 minutes away, the safest way is to drive the patient to the hospital as opposed to subjecting them to the risk. Our EMS providers, especially our helicopter providers, are out there every day willing to put their lives on the line. Our job is to make sure that their decisions are safe, prudent, as well as cost factor, as well as put their lives on the line. They want to do their job. They want to do the best they can. How can we do that in a manner that's safe for them? Other applications of this are myocardial infarction. Time is heart muscle. Strokes. Time is brain function. How can we make sure that providers go to the right hospital, the right capabilities, and are alerted to the best region to go by internet mapping and technology decision trees? And that's what the challenges I've been trying to understand and try to bring the technology. And hopefully that there's some people out there today that are able to help us integrate this mapping technology to our communication centers, our dispatchers, to create a safe environment and a prudent environment for our patients to be delivered safely, economically, and timely to our facilities. This is from shock trauma in Baltimore, Maryland, most of where I spent my college career, and I want to thank you for your time and your attention.